Hey guys, today we're going to discuss Macs versus PCs. So let's fire it up. So to tackle this question, there's no short answer. So we're going to kind of go back a little bit, look at some history, and then kind of put things in perspective. So back when it was all about word processing and data processing in the business corporate world, that's where we see the battle start between Mac and PC. So they were both in the office, both on the user end desktop in front of, the regular users, and also in the back end as servers. And what PC decided to do was to target people at home, as far as we're going to take this interface that you're used to seeing in the office and now make it available to you in your home for whatever you want to do. Plus, you can also take your work home and continue working there. So that kind of worked out for them, and they kind of won that era and became very popular in the house as far as that is concerned. Now, they still did have Macs in the homes, but the PC was at a greater clip. They had more PCs in homes. So you fast forward about a decade or so later, and you start getting into that era where they're about to hit the boom of digital production as far as music, video, photography, graphics, and so on the computer. And what Mac did at that point was they saw the opportunity to corner that market. So they decided, we're going to make high-end computers and target the professionals that need to do stuff on the computer digitally, music production, video production, and so forth. So that's when they started making their computers tailored a certain way. So what they did was they did control of the parts. They had control of the parts. They didn't just make the software, the OS, to run the system. What Windows did, Windows just made the OS, and then they had a bunch of different companies making computers. And then they had a bunch of different companies making parts for computers. So after a while, when you start configuring all these different parts, video cards, different sound cards, different chipsets on different motherboards, different types of RAMs, frequencies, grades, all that, you make the chances greater for you to have all types of anomalies and issues, errors, because some parts are not compatible or just working well with another part, because they're all coming from different third-party companies. Whereas Apple, they control all their parts, and they try their best to maintain all the control over their parts. So they will tell you, we recommend these video cards, and we recommend these PCI cards. And if you try to go outside of that, then they will tell you you're voiding your warranty. So what they did was smart, because they built a powerful PC to run an operating system, and they limited the type of parts that were used. They made sure they used high-end parts because they were making a high-end device. It's just like if a car company made a sports car, like you have Lamborghinis or like a two-door sporty Bentley. When the front end suspension and the front end is going or worn out, you wouldn't go and buy third-party Toyota parts to put in there. You would go back to Bentley or go back to Lamborghini and get the high-end, high-performance parts put back in there to maintain the integrity of the machine and the performance of the machine. So that's what Apple did. So people who don't understand specs and computer processing and power, they would go to Best Buy or Circuit City when that was around, to buy computers. They buy a regular computer, a desktop, and these desktops from PC were just geared towards the regular everyday user. And this is how PC got a bad name. People would buy a regular desktop and then decide they want to do music production or video production, or they want to run Photoshop on a computer that's not built for that. And then when it doesn't work, they would say PCs are bad. They're horrible. They're not that good. And Macs are better. But the thing was, Macs were built for that. And those PCs that you buy at those stores were not. Now you can build a PC that the specifications are suited for high-end video production, music production, and so forth. The thing is, Mac does it right out of the box. So if you're a person that's not that technical and don't understand PC parts and specs, and you don't care to understand that, you just want to work, then you go to Mac and you tell them what you're trying to do, and they'll cater to you. With the PCs, you can still have that done. You just gotta find the companies that do that, and there's tons of them out there. So that's basically the breakdown between Mac and PC. The answer is no one is better than the other. It's just that PC's got a bad name because people misuse the PCs and they don't understand the importance of specs and power. From time to time, people come to me and they say, oh, they want to do this on their computer, and what specs do they need? And then when you tell them what specs they need and show them the price of the parts that they need to buy, they don't want to buy it. They take shortcuts and they get cheaper stuff, and it's just like, okay, you could do that, but you're gonna start seeing issues and limitations here. So when you see that, don't blame the computer, just blame the fact that you cut corners and you were being cheap. So that's where PC got the bad rep. People are misusing PCs for high-end production, and it wasn't built for high-end production. So that's kind of where the whole thing gets all mixed up, and you have the PC lovers and the Mac lovers warring and battling back and forth. There's no one better than the other. They both pretty much use the same type of parts. Macs are not using some RAM that's just on another planet. They're using the same technology, pretty much the same technology. It's just they build their computers a certain way. Right now I have a PC behind me that's very high spec. It has a motherboard that supports 2 CPUs, not one but 2 CPUs, and I have 2 6-core Xeon processors on the motherboard. 2 6-core Xeon processors on the motherboard with a board that can go up to 512 gigs of RAM. Yes, 512 gigs of RAM. The video card I have right now is the NVIDIA Quadro K4000, and when I'm ready to upgrade that, I can. Those specs are a little bit over the top for what I'm doing right now, but every year new software comes out, new plugins come out, they're more powerful, they're demanding more power, more resources, more RAM, and I want my computer to last for a while. I want some longevity out of my purchase. So that's why I waited until I got the specs that I wanted and bought something over the top so that I can use it for a while as the software upgrade, even the operating system. We just got up to Windows 10 at the time of this video, and Windows 10 has some features that are great, but it's gonna need some resources. They have that multi-desktop thing. Sometimes I'll have 4 different desktops open and like 12 different apps, powerful applications open all at once. Some I'm working in them, some is rendering stuff in the background, and I can just switch back and forth between the different desktops and keep going. No hitches, no glitches, no problems. So computing power is gonna be in high demand as the years go by. So if you're serious about what you're doing, you're gonna invest in your system, whether it's a Mac or PC. None is better than the other. Stop the madness, stop the drama. They all use motherboards, CPUs, RAM, video cards, and 2 different operating systems. Now, if you have your preference, that's fine, but don't say one is better than the other. It's like comparing apples and oranges. You use what you want to use. Just make sure whatever you're doing with it sounds good, looks good, and makes you some money, or makes you happy.
Well, remember when people used to say Macs don't get viruses? Actually, some people are still saying that, unfortunately. Well, time to enter the real world because Apple has had to clear their App Store of 39 apps that executed malicious code. The apps, including the popular WeChat app and the Chinese version of Angry Birds 2, were infected with a tampered version of Apple's Xcode development tool without the developer's knowledge. Hundreds of millions of users may have already downloaded the malicious apps, but Apple says they're working to remove them. The apps, not the people. That would be bad.
So that's it, guys, for this video. And as usual, you'll see me in the next video. This video blog, and below here you'll have scrolling my latest blogs. And if you go to music, then you will see my music. We've updated the player. Now the one thing that's gonna make you a better mixdown engineer is time and experience. So if you don't have a lot of time under your belt, that's the main part of mixing. And even when you look at EQing, it's still like a mixer because you have access to every frequency.